According to Russian military bloggers, a geopolitical earthquake is happening. According to them, a close ally of Russia, a member of the Moscow-led military alliance CSTO, is delivering ballistic missiles to Ukraine. We'll talk about this in this short video. Here we have an article by Riba, the Russian military blogger that is one of the biggest ones, and they are talking about the fact that Ukraine used a Tochka-U missile again. Now, this in itself is nothing special. They had a certain amount of them at the beginning. They used them to strike military airfields, destroying some planes. They struck harbors, destroying landing ships. So they used them for a while, but then they ran out because according to the data I have, they had barely over 100 at the beginning of the war, obviously limiting the amount they can use them. According to Riba, the Ukrainians worked on refurbishing missiles that were still in storage but no longer workable. They got some from the Czech Republic, some from Poland, and some from Yemen that all had Tochka-U in the past and that might have still have some in inventory. Yemen, obviously, the part that is not the Houthis from them. We can't say if that is true, but according to them, it was modified. They worked on the engine, so to increase the range, the guidance system was bettered. All of this, nothing special. The more important thing is what happened afterwards. According to them, Yerevan, meaning Armenia, is delivering, according to a deal, is going to deliver or already delivering Tochka-U to Ukraine. Yerevan, according to Riba, has 3 launchers, but up to 200 missiles, so a significant inventory that would thus be available. They also talk about Armenia handing over its OSA short-range air defense system, 30 to 40 units of those, probably with all its ammunition, handing them over to Ukraine. This by itself is already spectacular, as Ukraine would in that case get fresh ballistic missiles and a good batch of air defense systems. The important thing is this is a country that currently has a Russian military base on its own soil, and that is member of the Russia-led CSTO that is often called Russia's NATO. The CSTO is a military alliance with Armenia as a member, and it let Armenia down several times in the last 3 years. First in 2020, when Azerbaijan attacked Nagorno-Karabakh, the exclave that was independent or quasi-independent Armenian inhabited. It's inside of the internationally recognized borders of Azerbaijan, and thus the CSTO and Russia were not obliged to help. In this regard, obviously, Armenia hoped for Russia's assistance, Russia's pressure on Azerbaijan to stop them from conquering everything, but they only stepped in very late. The reasons for that are usually being seen in the fact that the current prime minister came to power in a revolution where he ousted the previous clique of Moscow-friendly politicians, while he himself was more open to the West. So it's seen that this was some way of punishing Pashinyan for letting down Moscow, for daring to lead a revolution that got rid of the prior corrupt elites. While this in itself was a disappointment for Armenia, but not a legal obligation, the thing completely changed in September last year, in September 2022. At that point, Azerbaijani troops invaded Armenia proper, not just the exclave, that was not just Nagorno-Karabakh or Artsakh, as the Armenians call it, which is inside of Azerbaijan's territory. They crossed the border into Armenia, advanced, I think, 15 to 17 kilometers into Armenian internationally recognized territory. And what happened was that the Russian-led CSTO sent an observer mission with 3 soldiers instead of military aid, as they would have been obligated to. The reason for that is obvious. Russia was distracted with its war in Ukraine. They simply weren't capable of intervening, especially as Azerbaijan is in a close alliance with NATO that has a fairly powerful military by itself. This led to a complete disappointment, which recently led to the finishment of Artsakh, of Nagorno-Karabakh, which is now completely void, completely vacated of Armenians. All of them fled into Armenia proper and now completely reconquered by Azerbaijan, while Azerbaijan still holds positions in Armenian territory. In this time frame, the Armenian government said that they thanked in the last time in September, they thanked the US for brokering a ceasefire, not Russia. And recently, in an interview, the prime minister said it was a strategic mistake to rely on Russia for its defense. And recently, he asked the Russian military peacekeepers, the peacekeepers from Nagorno-Karabakh, to go directly to Russia, to not even come to Armenia anymore. Like in a case like, we don't need you here, we don't want you here anymore. In the situation reports about Ukraine war, I several times mentioned the fact that Armenia does not participate at exercises, at meetups anymore. They are increasingly orienting themselves outwards away from Russia. And according here to Rebar, they are preparing the documents for the country's withdrawal from the CSTO. I cannot confirm. I have no idea. I just know that recently the deputy foreign minister said, as of now, they do not want to leave. But obviously, the way of Armenia is out of Russia's sphere of influence. In this context, it is, if Riba is telling the truth, it's a geopolitical earthquake, because that would mean a close ally of Russia would hand over weaponry and obviously would get it replaced from the Western world. They have spare parts, they have Soviet equipment, and they can give it to Ukraine if it's being replaced from the West. So we'll have to see if more is to come, other air defense systems and so on. But in the context, it shows the strategic defeat Russia has already suffered. On my German channel, I made a video about this, unfortunately not here on the English channel. To summarize quickly, as von Clausewitz said, war is politics by other means. War isn't a mean by itself. It's waged to gain a political goal. And the political environment for Russia has worsened with the war. 2 new nations are in NATO. One of them is sharing an insanely long border with Russia. Finland and Sweden is about to join. And its sphere of influence in the Caucasus is falling apart. We see that with Armenia now probably about to switch sides, moving away from Russia, clearly moving away from Russia. Whether that message, whether those news are actually true or not, we see that Russia's global influence is decreasing, that Russia has suffered a strategic defeat. They might still win the war, clearly, but winning a military war, winning a war when the political environment got worse, doesn't really help you much. Still though, breaking news in some ways. Unfortunately, I got those news like an hour or an hour and a half after I did my yesterday's situation report, so I couldn't edit while I was able to edit to the German situation report. Still, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. What do you think about the geopolitical changes on the Caucasus? And Central Asia would be the next. Kazakhstan increasingly orienting itself towards China to gain some distance from Russia. And if you're new here, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. This channel is only possible because of the support of viewers like you. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by the means in the description. And other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll be back.